Welcome back to Waiting in Laodicea. I'm your host, A.T. Martinez. Sorry, I was listening to a little bit of secular music there from one of my favorite bands, a band by the name of Rush. But if you listen to the lyrics in that chorus, let's see. It says, you can choose a ready guide in some celestial voice, or if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. Interesting. See, this brings us to today's topic, making a choice and making a stand. If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. In this situation today, and the growing situation with the end of times, you need to understand there is no fence sitters. There are a lot of people in society today that, well, I don't believe in this and I don't want to support that. They want to be in the middle. Sometimes you hear people say, well, I'm not an extremist. I don't go with either view. I like to be comfortably in the middle. Well, there's no middle in this situation. What we're getting into is a situation of one side or the other. In a lot of ways, you can see this in our political system in the United States. You're either a Republican or you're a Democrat. Well, that's not entirely true, because there are a lot of people that are in the middle. They're independents, as they're called. But it's getting to where the two sides are divided, and so divided that you're with one side or the other. Those that are in the middle are having to choose between the two sides. This is basically what's going to happen to the world in general. You're going to have to choose. On whose side will you be? Now, I know you're sitting back, well, I'm with Christ. It's easy to say it at the moment, especially when you don't think about it. Now, there's a very good example in the Bible. If we go to, I believe it's Matthew 26, we're going to see somebody who thought most of us would have figured, hey, this guy's got this down. But let's see how he did.
Matthew chapter 26 verses 69 to 75. New King James Version. Peter denies Jesus, and weeps bitterly. Now Peter sat outside in the courtyard. And a servant girl came to him, saying, You also were with Jesus of Galilee. But he denied it before them all, saying, I do not know what you are saying. And when he had gone out to the gateway, another girl saw him and said to those who were there, This fellow also was with Jesus of Nazareth. But again he denied with an oath, I do not know the man. And a little later those who stood by came up and said to Peter, Surely you also are one of them, for your speech betrays you. Then he began to curse and swear, saying, I do not know the man. Immediately a rooster crowed. And Peter remembered the word of Jesus who had said to him, Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. So he went out and wept bitterly.
Peter remembered the words of Jesus, who had said to him, Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Today, many of us deny Christ daily. We go about our lives and we think that we're not telling people aside. Nobody ever asked me if I was a Christian. No, but our behavior shows. And the situation is going to start getting more and more prevalent to where we're going to be asked to choose. Do you support Christ, or do you support the secular ways? We're going to see this, especially if the Equality Act passes. Doctors are going to be given a choice. Do you support your beliefs in Christ, or do you want to follow the law? What am I talking about? Well, the Equality Act makes it a requirement. Doctors would be required to perform abortions. They would be required to perform sex change operations, whether they agreed with this morally or not. I'm not going to get into the debate on abortion, but the sexual change operations, you're mutilating a human. The point is, people's beliefs are going to be challenged, and they're going to be told, you need to pick a side. Who are you going to side with? As we go throughout our day, our behavior shows who we side with. It isn't a part, you can't do lip service to this choice. And at this moment, your choice isn't life and death. But in the end, it is going to be a life and death decision. If you choose to take the mark of the beast, you've chosen not to stand with Christ. If you take that mark, that's it. You picked a side. I'm not talking about those hypothetical situations. Well, what if somebody captures me and puts me to sleep and puts the mark on me? No, we're not talking that. We're talking about a very simple situation. Who are you going to side with? Will you stand up and proclaim to the world, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord? Or are you going to keep your mouth shut? Peter didn't even just keep his mouth shut. He denied Christ. And if Peter, one of the men that actually walked with him, will deny him, then we should not so quickly say, well, of course I'll stand with Christ, because too often we may not. When it comes down to today's society, we see people saying, oh, I don't want to bring it up because, they might laugh at me. I'd be embarrassed. They're going to look at me like I'm weird. They're going to think I'm a nut job. And you know what? You're right. They will think that. And it's getting worse. But this is only the beginning, folks. You've got to make a choice. On whose side will you be counted? And guess what? If you choose not to decide, you've made a choice. You haven't hidden yourself. You've joined the other side. Because you're going to be get to where you're put in a situation where you're going to have to say, no, I can't do that. I'm a Christian and it's against my beliefs. Because if you intentionally violate your beliefs just to get in and get along, you've made your choice. Am I saying you're going to hell? Nope, that's not my place. Number one. Number two, Peter didn't go to hell, did he? But he denied Christ 3 times. Now there is an exception, of course. When we get to, in a minute, you'll see the exception. Day in and day out, you're asked to do things. Maybe not every day, but consistently enough to where you are given the opportunity to take a stand. How do you choose that stand? Do you stand with Christ? Or do you allow the peer pressure, the thoughts of others to dictate where you will present yourself? These choices are going to get more and more frequent. And they're going to continue to get more frequent until they're daily, and even more than daily. Until finally, you're going to be told, hey, in order to eat, in order to buy food, in order to get rent, to pay your bills, to do any type of buying or selling, you need to get this mark on you. It's either going to be on your hand or your forehead. What's it going to be? And knowing the way things generally operate, that's the question is going to be phrased. So which is it, on your head or on your forehead or on your hand? they're not going to assume you're going to say no. Why? Because why would you? Who doesn't want to buy and sell? Who doesn't want to have access to goods? And when you make that choice, that's the one you don't come back from. Because you know, and I'm telling you right now, to receive the mark of the beast is to pick the side permanently. You won't be able to say, well, I didn't know. It's going to be given to you as a fact, and I'm telling you as a fact, when you pick this side, when you take the mark, yes, you've stood up. Maybe you have what you consider good reasons, but you'll go to hell for it because you turned your back on Christ. Now, let's come back to a little more short term. How often do we turn our backs on Christ? Now, we're going to go to another chapter in the Bible, a little bit before the one about Peter, and we're going to read what the Bible says, and I'll be right back after that. Thank you.
Matthew 25. Starting in verse 31. King James Version. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was an hungred, and ye gave me meat, I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink, I was a stranger, and ye took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me, I was sick, and ye visited me, I was in prison, and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee an hungred, and fed thee? Or thirsty, and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger, and took thee in? Or naked, and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was an hungred, and ye gave me no meat, I was thirsty, and ye gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me not in, naked, and ye clothed me not, sick, and in prison, and ye visited me not. Then shall they also answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee an hungred, or athirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did it not to one of the least of these, ye did it not to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal.
And I'm back. Now, if you look here in verse 35, it says, For I was hungered, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came unto me. This is what Christ says to the people who are on the right, on his right-hand side, the sheep. He's basically telling them, you were there for me. And they're going to turn to him and say, but God, when were you there? And God points out to him, let's see, scroll down to, and the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, you have done it unto me. When we are given the opportunity to help those in need, to provide for others were being given the opportunity to stand up for Christ. Do you choose to stand? Or are you like the goats who did not feed them? If you look, the ones on the right were told, welcome to heaven. The ones on the left, and we see in 41, then he shall say also unto them on the left hand, depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. And they obediently get indignant and say, hey, wait a minute, God, we didn't do nothing to you. You can't blame us. You weren't there. We never had the opportunity to feed you. And he points out what you did to the least of my people. You did to me. So who are you going to stand with? How are you going to stand? Will you stand with Christ? I want you to think about this for a minute. Are you going to stand? Now, I'm telling you right now, you can't just blithely say, of course I will. Because if you do, then can I ask you, are you standing with him right now? When was the last time you cared about somebody less fortunate? When was the last time you gave to the poor? When was the last time you fed someone? When was the last time you even took your old cups that you don't use and donated them to somebody that might need them? Think about it. I mean, maybe you are living and standing with Christ, and I hope you are. Because if you're not standing with him, well, get away from me is what he says. Now keep in mind, we already got told that being in the church of Laodicea that we're yuck, that he wants to spit us out. Now Christ is telling us that not only do I want to spit you out, but if you don't stand for me, go away, you're cursed. Just go. What's it going to be? Are you going to be told, come, enjoy the fruits and the bounty that has been prepared for you? Or are you going to be told, go away? There are a lot of ways in your life you can stand for Christ. Number one, when the people in your office tell that little off-color joke, which personally in this day and age, kind of dumb on their part anyway, because probably get sued. But regardless of what the environment they're in, do they say things that are inappropriate? Do you agree with them? Do you laugh? Do you turn a blind eye to it? If the answer is yes, are you standing with Christ? You have opportunities every day to stand with Christ. What are you going to do? I would suggest you get in the habit of standing now. Habits are hard to break. If you're not used to standing up for Christ, when the opportunity presents itself in your daily life today and tomorrow and the next few days and the next few years, then when it really matters, when Satan is coming down to the earth and the choice is between standing for Christ or taking the mark, what are you going to do? When the choice is between having the cops at your door and they want to know, what is it? Are you one of them Christians? Are you prepared to go to jail for Christ? To be executed for Christ? Because the Antichrist will execute you if you don't take his mark. So, you got to make a choice. There is no, well, let me get back to you. Can I think about it? No. Take the mark or don't. What you gonna do? Are you gonna stand with Christ? I hope you do. Now, this has been Waiting in Laodicea. on taking a choice. I am your host, A.T. Martinez. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. And if nothing else, I hope it makes you start to think. Are you going to take the right choice? Are you going to stand up and say, yes, I'm with Christ? And put your hands out in front of you, or put your hands behind your back already so they can arrest you and take you away. Do it bravely. Do it with the peace and the grace that Christ will give you at that time. You got to take your sides. Now, I hope you enjoyed today's show. Like it, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button. And if you want to contribute toward this ministry, you can, of course, go through the platform this is on. You can go to the website, which is www.waitinginlaodicea.weebly.com. Get a hold of us. If you want to contribute, there's methods to contribute. If you want to help in other ways, contact us. And if you just want to send out an email to talk, go ahead and do that too. The email's simple. It's waiting in sorry, no, got WW's on my head. The email is waitinginlaodicea@gmail.com. Send me an email. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you'd like to hear. Now, I hope you're prepared for this week. I hope you make the right choices, and I hope we all continue to prepare. Most importantly, I pray that the Lord bless and guide you through the rest of this week. And you have a wonderful evening.